my
Doing
friend?
well, I'm doing well, Amberly. How you doing?
Thank you so much for being here. We've been friends for a while.
Mhm.
I think we actually met on Instagram.
Did we did. We did.
Yes. But like I think it's been about 2 years.
It has been. It's 2021, 2019. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's been
I
about 2 years. Wow, time flies.
I know, but I tell you, I was saying before we started recording just how grateful I am for your support and your enthusiasm and your passion, because you're a motivational speaker,
Yes.
but, and you've got a huge platform,
Mhm.
but you have a beautiful heart. And I say that because you're the kind of person that is like, a mindset of abundance. Like there is enough for us to all have success and abundance. And the reason I say that is because you have referred me to be in like articles before. You have given me shout outs on Instagram. You've been on Clubhouse and introduced me as y'all, Amberly's the real deal. And I mean, that is what we need more of in this world is people like you who are supportive and giving. And um, I just have to ask, how old are you?
I'm 26.
You're 26. I thought you were about my daughter's age. And I am just dying to ask you so many questions because I'm getting ready to do my next TEDx talk, and it's to youth.
Uh,
And you are freaking inspiring. So you graduated from high school at like 16,
yeah.
and you've already written a book. Actually, hello, I have your book
Okay.
right here.
I love it. I love
I've got, you know what I love about your book too?
it.
Is that I could actually like read it because it's sometimes hard for me to read. I do a lot of books on Audible and I'm like, oh yeah, I can read this book. It's short enough for me to read, but impactful. And I actually wrote down some of your quotes here and stuff. And one of the quotes that you have in your book is from Napoleon Hill. And he
Mhm.
says, whatever the mind of a man can conceive and believe, it can achieve. Did
Yes.
I say that right?
Yeah. Yeah, you did. You did. It's a kind of a tongue twister. Even when I was writing the manuscript, I had to read it a few times to make sure I wrote it down properly. But yeah, it's a very powerful quote. I love it. I love it.
So, how did you graduate from high school at 19, first of all? I
Let's
mean,
talk about
16.
let's talk about
16, right?
it was like 19, but no, it was when I was 16 years old. So essentially
I
I
hadn't even gone through puberty at 16, by the way. Like, that's a big deal to go
oh
through, get through like that
yeah,
young.
yeah. No, yeah, definitely. I mean, I I've been blessed. First of all, shout out to my family, my mom and my dad. They've been very supportive of my just growth. You know, when you can have people in your corner, I feel like that makes the world of difference. Some people don't even have that accountability factor, that support factor. So, you know, growing up, I always had that factor. And my parents are also from the Caribbean. So the culture for Caribbean parents, at least from their generation, is very like scholastic based, education based. We want our children to succeed and be doctors and lawyers and all these types of successful individuals. So my mom used to be an educator and her father used to be an educator, and then having that mindset, you can just see how that culture plus mindset equals put, making sure that Michael goes through his work, he's staying on top of his scholastic performance. And so I think I started school when I was like very, very, very young. I remember being like in the first grade at 6 or 5, something like that. And I just remember that my mom actually took me from the school system once she felt like they were holding me back. So I was homeschooled for a long time. And so because of
Oh.
the experience, I was able to just be like Peter Rabbit and hop around from one grade to the next. And before you knew it, I was graduating high school at a very young age, 16. So
Wow.
yeah,
So your mom homeschooled. Let me
yes,
tell you, this
yes.
virtual school stuff, is
Right?
I'm the lunch lady, I'm the snack girl, I'm the PE person, which I love. But it's like it's a lot. But now we're in California and we're slowly getting back into hybrid.
Mhm.
And that's a big change. I think sometimes change is just hard. And so, man, your mom's amazing to actually homeschool you because I'm not. I tried helping her with my daughter's 12. I tried helping her with algebra, and I'm like, oh, we got to get you a tutor because that's just not my forte. But that, wow, that's amazing that your mom and you had the support from your family and that you bring that up, that how much support plays a part in how successful we are. And I think that goes along the lines, whether you're in school, whether you're 26 like yourself, or whether you're almost 50 like me, we need to have that support system. So I love that you talk about that in your book as well, about having coaches and mentors. And so I would love for you to, first of all, share any mentors that have really impacted your life, but then also tell us the difference, what it means to you, a coach versus a mentor.
Okay. Those are, I love everything. So let's start with the people who have like poured into me. There have been so many people that have poured into me as mentors. I think the original mentor was really my mom. I mean, my dad was a mentor and is still a mentor as well, but having the educational aspect really was the difference. I mean, my mom would really just make sure that I'm writing my arithmetic and going over tables and going over algebra things and going over, vocabulary words. And I was always challenged. So I feel like she was like the original real mentor when it came to my education. But after that, um, my current mentor really is a guy, and I may have referred you to him at one point, or maybe talked about him, but his name is Keyshawn Scott. He actually
Wait,
had
what was his name? I don't think I know him.
Keyshawn Scott. If
Oh,
if you don't know him, he definitely knows you because I've told him all about you and how great you are.
oh,
But he is a heartbreak slash relationship coach, and he's an Instagram influencer. And I remember when I started on Instagram years ago, I had no idea what I was doing. And I really wanted to elevate myself on social media, but also offline and in the community. And he was doing both. I messaged him randomly, and at the time he had, a few hundred, about 100,000, a little bit over 100,000 followers. And I asked him, hey, how did you get there? What did you do? He actually took me like a little brother and mentored me on not only how to grow my Instagram, but now I have his personal number. He teaches me things about finance, investing, stocks, streams of income when it comes to being a better version of yourself. He's very motivational, very inspirational. So he's actually, I would consider him a very close mentor who currently and actively, you know, calls me, hey, are you doing what you said you're going to do? He keeps me accountable, keeps me in line. He checks me when I need to be checked. And even with spirituality and physical things like exercise, he keeps me on check on everything. So literally, he went from being an Instagram mentor to a life mentor, which is one of the greatest
wow.
things. Um, but
Yeah, and now let me go back to that a little bit. So there's a couple of questions I have for you. First of all, so a lot of people get confused. Like, I have an accountability partner, I have mentors, I have people I'm in masterminds with. I would love to have a coach. I need a coach. I think every coach needs a coach. Every trainer needs a trainer. I mean, to me, that's kind of a luxury. But with the mentor versus a coach, first of all, do you pay a mentor or do you pay a coach or do you
okay.
do both? How does that work?
So yeah, so I'm glad you went back to it because I was getting ready to say that for me, I think the real difference between a coach and a mentor is the financial aspect. I mean, a coach, you hire a coach.
Hmm.
And then the thing about that is that when the terms of service end, you may not have access to that coach anymore. A mentor, however, on the other hand, um, is someone that is in your corner and you have access to even when the terms of service, quote unquote, would naturally be ended on the other side of coaching. So I think the difference is that a mentor has you have greater access to a mentor. Um, a mentor also is there for your good days, your bad days, and longevity. I think it's more of a long term. A coach is
Hmm.
short term. Now there are instances though where your coach can become your mentor.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been in situations where people have coached me with maybe physical activity. I was into bodybuilding at one phase of my life, and those coaches got so close to me that they became mentors. And I don't pay them today, but if I need access to anything, any
Mm-hmm.
type of resource, I have that longevity there based on the relationship we had in coaching. So
Okay. So when I've had a mentor in the past, so when I first got into training, how it worked with my mentor is, and it went even actually when I was teaching dance. When I started teaching dance at like age 13. But to have the mentor, I took a course which was very expensive back then. I think it was like $1,200, and it was so much. I mean, I had to save up money. My family saved up money to pay for that course, which basically was probably the best money that I've ever spent, because I carried that knowledge from learning how to be a teacher, learning the business side of teacher, and then having her continue to mentor me through the years. I took that, and that's how I started to run my fitness business. But then when I became a personal trainer, I paid again for this special course that I took. And then it had a hands on approach after the course was done. And so I got to mentor from someone who already had a successful fitness training business, because there's a lot of great people out there that know how to train people, or they know about anatomy or whatever, but they don't know the business side of it. So I chose a course which led me to a mentor, and got to learn the business side of how do you book clients, how do you get trainers and build your own business and have and employ other trainers to work with you. And so that's what mentors have been for me. When I started speaking, I paid for a course. So I paid $5,000, which I was like, $5,000. Oh my gosh.
mhm.
$5,000 to learn this PowerPoint presentation type thing, where it from a speaker, like presentation coach who teaches you the different kinds of speaking, because I didn't know how. I was like getting asked to speak on stages and I had no idea how to do it. So I paid for the course. I took this it was 2 hours at 5 times. I went for 2 hours at a time, and I've got access to her as my mentor ever since. So that's kind of how a mentor has worked in my life. Is I've paid for what they're offering. And then the bonus is I have them to mentor me, and I have access to them. Like I took that course 6 years ago, maybe. And I just called my mentor, and I was like, hey, I bet you didn't think you'd still be hearing from me, but I'm feeling a little stuck right now. I've got another TED Talk and I need help. And so she's like, what are your ideas? And she's able to talk me through it. So I think that as an entrepreneur, it can be lonely sometimes, because you get to a certain level of success and then a lot of people don't want to ask for help, or they do, but I say ask for help, get a
Mhm.
mentor, take a course from someone who's highly respected, who's paving the way, who's doing like you've done, where you were like, how did you get how did you grow your Instagram following? I would love for you to share, because there's a lot of people on here that want to build their following so they can make a bigger impact. What are some of the things that you've done to grow your social media? Because your social media, ever since I've known you, has just exploded. Like, you have such a huge following. You get tons of likes. Not that likes are everything, but it just shows that your people are liking they're resonating with what you're saying, because you post a lot of very powerful, impactful
Mhm.
things. So how did you start to grow your following from like zero to hundreds of thousands where it is now?
Yeah. So I think when I began the process of trying to figure out what this Instagram thing really was about, I I just posted, a lot of content that had no real meaning or purpose for me. So I think tip number one is make sure that whatever you're getting into has purpose, and has value. Because when you're just starting out on social media, if you're just posting to post, it's kind of just like living life just to live. And a life
Mm-hmm.
without a purpose is really not
Mm-hmm.
a life worth living. So, an Instagram without a purpose, in my opinion, is not an Instagram worth having. Even if you want to be a model, okay, well, your purpose is to, inspire others in the sense of style. If you want to be an author, you want to inspire others in the words that you write. If you want to be an entrepreneur, you might want to inspire others in the business mentality that you have. So, every corner, find your niche, and really understand what you're trying to put out there into the world. And I think that once you figure that out, the second thing I would say is to really be consistent. I can't stress that enough. Consistency pays off dividends. If you think that you're wanting to start an Instagram and you start posting, and you don't see the results, you just can't give up. Because if you're just going to post five things and then, oh, I quit because I'm not getting enough likes, I'm not getting enough traction. I mean, it's, you think about all the famous people now, like Oprah, Michael Jordan, Albert Einstein, Thomas Edison. Like, these people didn't just try something and then stop because they didn't see success.
Mm-hmm.
Success is that thing that comes with consistency. And the third thing I would say is to, once you've figured out what your niche is, and your how will be impactful, and then you figure out how you're going to be able to be consistent, I would say, always think about ways of growing offline to help you grow online. And the reason why I say this is important is because in today's age, the way Instagram works a lot now is with just social credibility. Who are you? Why should we listen to you? Why should we interact? What do you have to offer that will help us? So once you're able to build yourself offline, meaning maybe do community events if that's in your niche, maybe do blog articles, posts, maybe get podcasts done, maybe even, try to see how you can help other people in that specific niche. Or maybe you're a comedian, right? Even if you're a comedian and you want to post videos to get people laughing, you know, Instagram is not the only place. You have YouTube, you have TikTok, you have Snapchat. I mean, you have so many different tools that you can use. So I would say use all those tools to build a community that's holistic, that can pour into your Instagram. And over time, you'll see um, growth. And bonus tip, this is something that helped me a lot. Make genuine connections with real people like you.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah,
mean,
no, that's true. And I think that how you do that and how you did that is like we met, but you were very consistent in reaching out to me and like making, you know, it a like I always hear from you. I'm like, oh, there's Michael again. Oh, and one thing that I think really helped me is because look, I have had people ask me, who's your social media person? Who's your brander? And I'm like, that would be me. Like it's me. Um, because it's a lot to keep up with.
yeah,
But I think the best way to create engagement is to post stuff that resonates with people. Like for me, that comes from the heart, and I put time and effort into and intention into what I'm posting. And by the way, I see the difference in your social media from years ago when you first started. And it was like, I think you're a comedian, by the way. Like you would post some funny stuff, but it was like for a laugh and just random. And then
right.
I could see how you've grown into your social media that is very intentional with a lot of purpose behind it. Now I see that. And
Mhm.
the same with me, like I leave my posts that I've had since I first started that are horrible, like bad filters on, like bad. But I leave it because when I coach people and they're discouraged and they're like, I don't know, oh my gosh, you have all these likes or this or that. And I said, no, go back to when I first started. And I was excited that I was like, oh my gosh, I got double digit likes, like 11 people, 12 people liked my post. I didn't get caught up in the numbers. I
Mhm.
really paid attention to engagement as far as like I comment back to people and then I go to their post and show them some love and really pay attention to what they're posting, not just heart, 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 but really I do my best to really read their post and comment on it, which does take a lot of time. And I've had people say, Amberly, well, especially my husband say, you can't keep that up. It's too much. You just can't do that. And so I haven't been able to do it as much because life gets lifey, life gets
Yeah.
busy. So, how do you manage your boundaries and your priorities around your social media? Because we were talking about this offline
Mhm.
about Clubhouse and
Right.
how much that can be like as we speak right now, my phone is on a Clubhouse room in the
Yeah.
bathroom because
Yeah.
I'm speaking on a panel. So
Yeah.
I'm like, you guys, I'll be right back. I got to go interview a legend right now.
Yeah.
But how do you manage everything?
So I'm going to show you two things, two apps. Okay. This first app is called Habit Share. Habit Share looks like this. I don't know if everyone can see that. Let me see if I can adjust my screen contrast. Oh,
Okay. And if y'all are listening to this, head over to YouTube and you can actually
here we go.
see
I have a little
Michael and
angle.
see now what is that? It's called, that's an
Yep.
app
It's an app called Habit Share. I'm holding it at an angle so that you can
that
see it.
doesn't, okay, habit
But
share.
but basically what it does is it allows you to input all your daily tasks. So every day I have a routine.
Oh,
Every day
what
I have,
everyday what?
every day I have a routine.
Uh-huh.
And I'll tell you like some of the things. I wake up and I do some meditation, right? I'm in school right now, so I'm actually doing some academic things for my grad school. Got to make sure that I eat breakfast. Have to make sure I have my fruits and vitamins. Make sure that I drink my appropriate glasses of water a day. So I have one app that's solely dedicated to my daily routine, and it
Mm.
tracks your progress because every time you check in, it tracks your progress. It says, okay, you're 52%, accountable for this week. You're 100% accountable for this week. So it's like your own accountability partner. But for social media, I have a separate app. It's called Momentum. Okay, and
Mm.
for those watching, see if I could also
Mm-hmm.
um, show the
So
screen.
habit share and momentum. I'm writing this down, by the way.
Oh yeah, for sure. Without these apps, I think I probably would not get as much out of life as I do now. Um, I use this app, which is Momentum, to basically track my social media activities. You might not be able to see it so clearly in the video, but I say, okay, well, engage with my Instagram community.
Mm-hmm.
That post on Twitter, post on Facebook, post on Instagram, post on YouTube. YouTube Thursdays at 2 p.m. Eastern time. Post on TikTok. Reach out to some individuals in my niche and circle.
Wow.
Look out for inspirational posts. Tag people in inspirational posts. I have these things listed. I feel that with having these apps, I'm able to just look in, see what I have not done, and just check off the things that need to be done.
That's
So
awesome because you know what? If you saw my desk, I don't know. Well, I'm not, you can't see. I've got sticky notes. So I have sticky notes everywhere that are like email this person, post on Twitter, make a tweet, all this stuff. I need to get that app.
the app is beautiful. It integrates really well with your phone. It's for iPhone users and Android users. But these apps essentially serve as accountability partners to you. Um,
Okay.
you set them up, right? You put what you need to accomplish.
Mm-hmm.
As I said, I use one of the apps for my daily routine, and the other app can be more updated with
Mm-hmm.
flexible things. And you don't have to use one app for social media over the other. It doesn't really matter which one you use for social media and which one you use for your daily routines, but just having either or of those apps, Habit Share or Momentum, are very useful in keeping a hold on what you have to do.
That's so
Very-
awesome. Now, Michael, I've got to ask you because so my oldest daughter's 25. She just got
Mhm.
accepted to Yale. I'm so freaking proud of her. Like you, she's studying medicine. I mean, she's like been doing COVID research.
Uh-huh.
I love that you're a public servant or health servant and all that you do, and that you're so, that you're in school right now and you're making time to do this recording. And you seem so organized and just by sharing these apps. And so this next TED talk that I'm doing is for youth. And so I called my daughter and I said, Savannah, I said, what do you think youth is struggling with the most right now? I said, I know that what I struggled with, you can Google it and it says addiction, depression, anxiety. Those are like the top one, and overwhelm and burnout. And she said, well, Mom, she said, when I was stressed out and feeling overwhelmed and burnout uh, the other week, and you told me about boundaries and really about setting those healthy boundaries and having quality over quantity. She said, I deleted my social media. I got really intentional about setting healthy boundaries for myself. She said, I wish that I would have known that growing up because I didn't. And now I'm in so much pain. And I'm like, oh, my heart, like I wish I was a better parent, like when she was younger, but I didn't know those things. I didn't know how to set healthy boundaries. I didn't know how to process my feelings. And I learned it at a much, older age. What do you feel? What are some of the things that maybe you struggle with? And what are some of the things that you feel like youth, people your age, are struggling with? I mean, it's weird to even call you youth because I feel like you're an old soul. I think it's because you're so accomplished in where you are as a speaker and where you are in your life that it's weird for me to say youth, but I mean, you're 26 years old.
Yeah.
What is something you've obviously got great habits set in place? Is there anything that you struggle with? And also, do you know if people that are your age, if you even hang out with people your age, is something that they struggle with?
Yeah. So I think that I have this struggle with time management. So the greatest the greatest barrier in my life is time management.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think part of it is because I'm always trying to be involved in things.
Mm-hmm.
That's my
Do you think
personality.
it's like FOMO? Do you think it's fear of missing out?
Um, Part of it, I think part of it could definitely be FOMO. Definitely part of it could be FOMO, but the other half is just my personality is that of, I like to be in the kitchen with the other cooks. I like to be in the action. I like to be in the events when things are happening. And I also like to try to have things just happen for me. So because I like to put a lot of things on my plate, sometimes I don't manage everything well.
Mm-hmm.
So and then sometimes things may not even be on my plate in a very weighted way, but I still struggle with that. And time management has been one of the things that's actually like it I'm writing a book right now called The Hidden Barriers that really goes into detail about like the 10 most formidable obstacles on the way to success. And I discuss in it about how time management really like almost messed up my whole career. Like I wouldn't even have a career right now if I didn't have to like try to hone in on trying to fix it. And it's something that I'm always trying to fix, which is why I have these crutches. I have the app. I have things to keep me accountable.
I
Um,
don't even think that, I think that that's like great that you have those apps. I think whatever helps you. Look, I've got alarms. I've got a thing. My husband gets so upset because I have an alarm on, or a thing on my phone where at like 8:45 it goes to do not disturb, so it doesn't notify me. I don't hear anything. I'm off social media. I mean, it's very rare that I'm scrolling or doing anything after that time, but he gets upset because if he's out and he tries to call, it just goes straight to voicemail. But I had to set up some kind of a system that it blinks. There's a light that flashes and it says
yeah,
time for bed. And so it gives me 30 minutes to start winding down. So my morning ritual is just as important as my nightly ritual. And that nightly ritual really prepares me for success for the next day. But time management is really a struggle for me too, because I feel like we're a lot alike. I love being with people and connecting and doing events and doing interviews and being a part of it. I just love the connection. And that's probably why I'm on a panel in the other room
Yeah.
with a picture that says "Be right back," because I'm like, I love being with there, but I when I one thing that really helps me is my friend Leah, who she is a third, like, gosh, 3-time Olympic medalist, gold medalist. She's been on the podcast. And she said, what I do is where I am all focused where I am.
Mhm.
So that's for me. Like when I'm doing this, I'm all here. When I'm with my family, I am all there. So it allows me to be in that moment, but I have to write things down. So I look at how much time I spend on Instagram, and I'm curious, how much time do you spend on Instagram? Do you know?
Yeah, well, nowadays, I spend significantly less time because I've actually put up boundaries. I mean, it's so funny because over the summer or even this past winter, I mean, I would log on to my Instagram report on my iPhone and it'll tell me like the amount of time you spent on this app this week. Oh my gosh, like 30 hours, like 40 hours. I'm like, what am I doing? And I told
Hmm.
myself I'm not going to allow I'm not, I'm going to be in control of the app. The app is not going to be in control of me. And so now I probably spend like no more than 2 hours a week, 3 hours a week on the app. I specifically write what I need to do on the app, which is to engage with people, engage with the community, put something up there, do some things in the background. The DMs, I love the messaging portion because I can really be interactive without having to get distracted. And then I'm off.
Hmm.
So yeah,
That's a drastic change from like 40 hours a week to like 2 hours a week. That is that's wow. That is really setting some boundaries up,
yeah,
because it's for me, because I like to promote my podcast. I like to
yeah,
promote events that I have. Plus, I want to just try to share my experience, strength, and hope
right,
to others. So I want to post other things too. But
yeah,
um, it's the time that I put in preparing the stuff. And, I feel like when I'm not connecting with people myself, if I'm not reading their responses and stuff, I don't know my audience. And
mm,
so I like to read the comments, I like to read the DMs. And I know a lot of people have people that do that for them. So sometimes it takes me 3 days to check my direct messages, but it's because I'm doing it. And I know that there has to be a time when you delegate things out. I'm just not quite there yet, but the time management and the boundaries, and I really want to hone in on those boundaries. What do healthy boundaries mean to you?
yeah. Um, Being able to say no, I think that's one of the strongest healthy boundaries. I struggled with this for a long time, and you know,
Why do you think you struggled with that?
I used to be a yes man. I used to really try to make everyone happy. Um,
So you're an overcoming people pleaser like me?
yeah,
Me too.
yeah. Like saying no was so difficult for me. I mean, I could literally remember there have been times where people like asked me to do things that I knew didn't even make sense for me to say yes to, and I said yes anyway. Um, but in the recent years, I've been way more dedicated to setting up boundaries, and now I have a little bit more fun um, saying no, especially when it's not meant for me. The thing that I'm saying no to.
How do
There,
you say no? I mean, how do you know when someone asks you to do something, if it's a yes or no? What helps you make that decision?
that's a good question. I think you just that. So this goes back to really knowing who you are and knowing what your values, your beliefs are, and if you're still struggling to find your purpose, um, I would say, just continue to seek out the depth of what you like. Why do you feel like life matters to you, and why do you feel you have something to bring, and what do you think that thing is? Because all those things will help you to be able to say no, especially if it doesn't line up. Like if someone asks me, you know, Michael, we like some of your comedy skits. We're hosting, this. televised event and you're going to do comedy and the audience is going to be from blah blah blah, and then the audience is actually not in my caliber. They're actually kind of, you know, not appropriate for my type of positivity, and it's not the kind of atmosphere I'd like to be in that would coexist with my brand. And that's a no.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like you say no when it's anything that's going to harm your peace. You say no when um, it's going to cost you your peace, because anything that costs you your peace has cost you too much, right? You're going to say no when it's something that will be not aligned with your values, not aligned with what you believe in, not aligned with what you stand for. Um, Also, say no if it's going to cost you a destruction of your barrier, or uh, sorry, destruction of your boundary that you've set up. So these are all things that I consider. But you know, if it's it, but I will say, slight comment to the right, that there are times when it's also okay to say no, not right now.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit different from that indefinite no. It's just like, no, not right now. Let's rain check on this, right? Because that shows that you're not in the space for whatever reason to handle whatever it is that comes your way, but you know that later on you might be more willing and ready to say yes. So I think knowing where you are at all times. So
And I
there's some.
think too, just knowing that when you're saying yes to something, you're saying no to yourself, or
Mm,
no to something you're doing with your family. For me, I always think about, okay, when I'm saying yes to this person, what am I saying no to? I'm saying no to that solo podcast that I'm supposed to be, I was supposed to have recorded last week, or I'm saying no to doing my exercise, or no to spending time with my family, or no to so that helps me weigh it out too. But I think I love what you said about knowing who you are and knowing what your values are. That makes it so clear for everything you do, whether it's collaborating with someone on Instagram, or like the other day, I was pinged into a Clubhouse room and they asked me to go on stage, and I'm looking around and I'm like, this is not, I mean, I'm all about going into different rooms and expanding my brand and stuff, but I'm like, none of these people are gonna, we're not the same at all. Like
yeah.
they don't care about speaking or books or grit or grace. Like they don't care. Why am I here? Like I had to go, okay, I got to peace out, like it's not going to work. So I think Clubhouse has taken off. It's like people
Mhm.
are on that app, and I know some people that are already addicted to it. And there's already Clubhouse anonymous rooms, believe it or not. Like,
Wow.
I swear, it's crazy. I had a friend that was on Clubhouse for 12 hours straight. And I'm like, how do you work? How do you get any work done?
Yeah.
Those of you who don't know what Clubhouse is yet, I'm sure most people do, but it's an Audible app. And we're connected on Clubhouse, and I love being in rooms with you. Tell me how much you're on Clubhouse and how has it impacted your business?
Yeah.
And have you set healthy boundaries up with Clubhouse?
Yes. Let's start from the healthy boundaries, because when I started on Clubhouse, I did not set up healthy boundaries. I remember I was on the app for 4 days straight when I first got on it. Yes, you heard it right. The guy who was talking about how you should set up boundaries did not set up his own boundaries. Yes, that is true. I did not set up my own boundaries. And that's the thing with
I
life.
think a
Like,
lot of people did that though. A
yeah,
lot of people.
a lot of people did that. And I think it's, this is just good for anyone to know, when you interact with something for the first time, um, don't just dive into it unless you are really sure how the boundary is going to be established, because everything should have a boundary in life. Everything.
Hmm.
Too much and too little of some things may not be beneficial for you. For me, I just let it carry me, and I was like, man, it's been 4 days and I really have not gotten sleep. And I've literally been on the app. I promise you, that week I looked at my report and Clubhouse, the hours are just ridiculous. But now I use the app for building more of a community that's focused on just motivational, inspirational, momentum-based things. Occasionally, I'll be in a room that where people just pretty much shout themselves out and they talk about what they're doing and they talk about, what's the project they're working on or the business they're working on. But nowadays, I pretty much use Clubhouse very rarely, and the only time I use it is to really pour into others or have others connect with me, so we can, you know, talk about things related to business or things related to authorship. Some people have reached
Mm-hmm.
out to me, which is awesome because they've never written a book and they wanted to know how to get started. So I told them to message me on Instagram, and then the next thing you know, we were sending each other voice memos and some tips and tricks to become a first-time author. So these are the things that I think consider to anyone should consider when going into an app or anything in life. Just make sure you know what your boundaries will look like, and be purposeful, because there's going to come a time when you're just going to be doing something just because, and that's the worst thing. That's like
Mm-hmm.
back to how I said it's like living life with no purpose. Like you're just existing, but you're not actually living.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Yeah, I think that's true. So I think that setting up the boundaries, healthy boundaries for yourself,
Mhm.
for everything that you do, whether it's apps or people or places or anything, it's like really knowing what your values are and being intentional.
Mhm.
Because I think a lot of times, if you ask people, what are your values? Sometimes people don't know. So I think it's important to ask yourself, who are you? What do you need? What do you feel? What are your values? So then that will help you set up those healthy boundaries and help you with your time management. And if you need help, it's the habit share or the momentum apps.
Yeah.
Now, to stay so highly motivated, first of all, and then I'll ask you how you got into motivational speaking. But what are some of the things you do to stay motivated, or to who motivates you? Like, how do you do that?
Yeah. So those apps, going back to those apps, my motivation really comes from seeing the goals that I had written down originally, the routine that I wrote down originally, or the things that I had to do, because it reminds me that I set out on this journey of consistency, so I need to stick to it. But sometimes those apps don't work, right? Sometimes you write things down and you tell yourself that you have greatness within you, you have unlimited potential, all the things that inspire and motivate us. But when that doesn't work, the next thing that I do to stay motivated is to have an accountability partner. So, going back to what we said before, accountability partners don't have to be your mentors. It's great when they are,
Mm-hmm.
extremely powerful when they are. But sometimes they could just be your friends and family members. One of my family members, my cousin Clayton, he keeps me very accountable. He makes sure that if I say something, especially I'm a dreamer, so I like to always say I'm going to be, the first person to do X, Y, Z on the planet, whatever. And he'll say, "Well, Mike, how's it going with your plan to do X, Y, Z on the planet, whatever?" And I'm like, I forgot I said that." "Well, I'm just holding you accountable because you said it, therefore it must happen." We need people
Mm-hmm.
like that. Sometimes it does hurt, and it's horrible because I'm like, man, why do I have to talk so much? Why do I have to tell him? Like, I don't want him to keep me accountable. I don't want anyone to keep me accountable, but we need people like that.
Yes. Yeah. Hey, look, I check in with my sponsor every single day. That's how I stay sober. That, and I go to meetings. And so, yeah, I really believe in accountability. I think that's how we do it, because it's easy to kind of get, little way far away from our goal or whatever. But I think it's like when we have somebody that we know we're checking in with them, as hard as it is sometimes, it really makes all the difference.
Mhm. Yeah, it
So
sure
you're
does.
lucky I mean, that's great. You have, family members that can do that, because sometimes family members are not so supportive. In fact, they're the people you don't even tell your big dreams or goals, because they will make fun of you, or They will really tell you how there's no way you can do it, or that, and not coming from any other place other than they're maybe projecting their own fear, their own feelings of what they're like, there's no way you can, write a book, or there's no way you could change the world by doing this. And not that they mean it in a mean way, they just don't, they've never done it, so they kind of project that onto you. So I think it's really important to find those people that do believe in you, whether it's a mentor, coach, because sometimes your family is not capable of doing that. So I think it's great that you have some family that is there to support you along the way. So do you have a morning ritual that you do? And does that app help you with that, or does it
Mm,
change up
yes.
throughout the day?
So pretty much I put all of my morning ritual into those apps. As I said, habit, share, momentum. And what it looks like is, I'll wake up. Um, First thing I'll do is, get acclimated, because when you wake up, the bed can easily call you back. It can
Mm-hmm.
easily call you back, especially when you're comfortable and you're nice and warm. So I'll start immediately thinking about, okay, what are some things that I have to do today? And while thinking, I'll just say, if I know the bed is like going to keep me, so I need to just go ahead and get up. So while I'm thinking about those things, I'm in the bathroom every morning like clockwork. I'm brushing my teeth, flossing, doing a little bit of TLC, and then I come to this chair that I'm sitting in right now, and then I start reading. And I'm there's a book behind me, a Kobe Bryant book called The Mamba Mentality, going through the mind of Kobe Bryant. I'll read
Our
maybe a
car is named Mamba, by the way.
Mamba. I love it. I love
My
it.
daughter named our car Mamba.
I love it. Mamba mentality. So, I'll read a little bit of that, do a little bit of my devotional. I'm a Christian spiritual person, so I'll read a little bit of a devotional. And then after that, I'll pretty much get my mind ready maybe for half an hour to 45 minutes. And then I'll dive into like the biggest thing that I have that day first.
Mm-hmm.
So right now I'm working on a manuscript or getting that manuscript typed for my book. I know that it's going to take a lot for me to just get everything ready. So I have some extra time. I'll spend maybe an hour just really cracking down hard on that one thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's where the consistency pays off. I mean, Kobe Bryant even said himself in one of the interviews a while back. He was saying that success really comes down to mathematics. The more that you can have to add from daily consistent rituals or consistent, you know, you doing things as you should, it'll add up, and before you know it, you will have put enough time to reach your goal or the dream, and then have the impossible be possible. So for me, it's just consistency, time management, and then really just having that accountability. Those things will work like magic. I promise you. If there's nothing else that you do, those three things: being consistent, having somebody to keep you accountable for that consistency, and having a way to organize your time properly, woo, you will be whatever you want to be, and you're on the way to finding grit in your grace.
Oh, I love that. I love that. And then you say something else in your book,
Uh-huh.
that about you have a light inside you and to really fan those flames. How
Mhm.
do you fan those flames?
Mm. Ah, I like, yeah. So for me, that's a good question. The reason I say it's a good question because it's actually changed uh, in the past as I continue to grow. Before, it was um, through just kind of being around um, the right people. Now I find it not so much being around the right people, but having the right mindset.
Mm-hmm.
I at one point I was trying to find, I guess you can say, like my purpose and my will by associating myself with people. Like if I saw somebody that was doing something that I thought I would want to do, that's what I would do. But I realized that kind of only takes you so far. If you don't have the actual engine to the car, the mindset to your human soul, like that moves you, in that direction of self-growth and self-love, then being around people will only carry you to a certain height, a certain level. Like you're as good as the people's existence around you, but it has to go deeper than that. So I think for me now, it's just being able to carry a mindset of will, a mindset of grit, a mindset of determination, a mindset of purposeful driven concepts that work to make sure that I'm really just getting the most out of life. So that's what I'm currently all about.
Well, I mean, it's amazing that here you are at such a young age, that you're in graduate school, that you're doing all this research, that you are such a huge influencer
Yeah.
and speaking and being asked to do all these interviews. I mean, it's just so inspiring. And you're such a great role model for everyone, not just young people, but for me. I mean, I learned from you, and that's why I was so excited to talk to you, because I was like, okay, what are you struggling with and how do you do it? Like,
Yeah.
because we all struggle with similar things, but I can only imagine where you're going to be a year from now and 2 years, and then when your next book comes out.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, I'm like so excited for your next book. When do you think that it's going to come out? Well, first of all, what's it called?
It's called The Hidden Barriers.
The Hidden Barriers. And
The
when do
Hidden
you think it's going to be published?
um I'm hopeful for maybe next spring. The manuscript is already complete. Everything's ready to go. I think, it's just having that process of finding the right publishing company that can tell your story. But I
So
think,
you're going to do
yeah,
publish traditional publishing this time, or are you going to do hybrid? Or so, because your first book was for self-published, right?
my first book was self-published, but this book, because I'm really wanting it to be
A New York Times bestseller?
a New York Times bestseller, but for me, it's really more about the impact factor, right?
Yeah.
So in research, we even have something called the impact factor. Like it is what you think it is. Like how much can this one thing impact something else? So for me, the first book was really, I wanted to be able to take Success Begins From Where You Are, the name of the book, to people who needed to hear, a message, and a right now kind of message, not a tomorrow kind of message, or next year kind of message, or right now kind of message that was short enough for you to digest and really just, hey, okay, this is like a little bit of a jump start,
Hmm.
something that's easily digestible, easily readable. So that's why I just did the self-publishing route. But for this one, we're going big because I feel like I
Well, we say go big or go home in
I
Texas.
yes, yeah,
Like, go big. Yeah. I
I
love it.
I put so much of my just my personal stories and emotion into this book that I feel like I have to do it justice by making sure that the impact factor is right. So yeah, that's why I feel like the traditional route for me would be the best
Hmm.
option.
Well,
I'm so excited.
I'm excited for you. And when you let me know, I will be ready to write that review on Amazon for you and
Yeah,
read it and shout your book out. Yeah, I'm cheering you on. I mean, look, I introduced you to my girlfriend from Right Way, who I was like, and that's how it works. We can connect each other with others. So I'm like, yeah, I'm going to be reaching out to you when your book's done, because by then I'll be working on my next one. So it
yeah,
just, yeah, however we can support each other.
yeah.
So just to kind of finish up here, I would love to know your definition of resilience.
Yes, I love this. I knew this was coming. I knew this was coming. The definition of resilience. Okay. Are you ready?
Yeah,
All right. The
I'm
definition,
excited.
Michael H. Ford's definition of resilience is not backing down when times are tough, not giving up when all else is against you, not sitting down when you have the ability to stand up. Resilience means you push forward with a momentum that's not only unstoppable, but it's unbreakable. There'll be no chain that is strong enough to break your resilience. Resilience for you is the same type of chain that maybe it has bound you to some things in the past that has held you there, but now you've been able to rework that chain for your own good. And you take those same polymers that created that chain that held you down and use them to create this barrier that will be unbreakable. No one can penetrate it, and you will be able to keep on going from one thing to the next, conquering the barrier of fear, conquering the barrier of low self-esteem, conquering the barrier of discipline, conquering the barrier of time management. When it comes to saying no, putting up boundaries, making sure that people have you to hold you accountable, having all those things mixed together for a great recipe called resilience. And that is my definition.
Amen. I
Let the church
love
say,
it. High five on that one. That
bro.
was awesome. Oh, I love your enthusiasm too. Oh my gosh, you are incredible. I always look forward to hearing you on Clubhouse, seeing your posts. It always lifts my spirits when I see a comment from you. So, thank you for all you do to impact the world in such a positive way. And just sharing your wisdom today. I appreciate you so much. Where's the best place for people to find you and ask you more questions?
Yes. If anyone wants to ask me any question, please find me on Instagram at MichaelHForde, Michael H. Ford. I'm also available on other social media platforms, Facebook. Um, Now I'm on TikTok. I just started that the other day, so that's fun.
Oh, I
Clubhouse.
have to follow you there. I think the last time I posted on TikTok was like 6 months ago.
Yeah. Clubhouse. So pretty much any social media app, the name is the same, but my most active app is Instagram. So I'd love to connect with you guys, to be able to talk about what you're doing to build your resilience, to build your grit, and to build your moving forward type of mentality towards success.
Oh, yeah. If there was a one part in here that just really resonated with you, take a screenshot and tag both Michael H. Ford and Amberly Lago Motivation so we can see it and thank you and connect and share it too. So thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.
All right. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.